So we've got the off-season at the moment. There's a couple of exhibitions going on here and there over in America. But there is the entry list for the Australian Open. It has come out 6 weeks before the tournament. That's how these things work. And the entry list is like sort of the cutoff for the top 100 players who are, going to make the main draw without having to qualify. Let's go have a look at who has made the entry list, but also who is sort of at the top.
Coco Gauff has just committed to a $1 million exhibition
and the tennis world is
taking place during the
buzzing.
Australian Open, and the tennis world is buzzing because of it. She's joining Jannik Sinner, Iga Świątek, and Carlos Alcaraz in an event called the 1 Point Slam. The idea is simple and completely wild. Every match is decided by a single point. 1 point determines the winner, and the prize is $1 million Australian dollars. Some of the biggest names in tennis will be competing against everyday players. That alone makes this one of the strangest concepts tennis has ever seen. So here's the question. Would you play a 1 point match against Coco Gauff for a chance at $1 million? Let's break down what just happened in the tennis world, because this could either be one of the smartest marketing ideas tennis has ever had, or one of the most ridiculous uses of top players' time right before a Grand Slam. The 1 Point Slam has officially announced that Coco Gauff, Jannik Sinner, and Iga Świątek have all signed up to participate. And when they say 1 point, they mean exactly that. Not one set, not one game, one single point decides the match. Win the point, move on. Lose it, you're out. And in this case, the winner walks away with $1 million Australian dollars. Before getting into why this idea is both brilliant and completely absurd, let's explain what this event actually is. The 1 Point Slam is scheduled for January 14th at Rod Laver Arena, right in the middle of the Australian Open. There will be 48 competitors in total. Here's where it gets really interesting. The field is made up of a mix of professional tennis players and amateur players who qualified through state championships across Australia. That means you could have Jannik Sinner, the world #2 who just won the Australian Open and Wimbledon, facing someone who earned their spot by winning a local qualifying event. And the entire match comes down to a single point. The prize money is $1 million Australian dollars, which is roughly $650,000. That's not a small amount, even for players at the level of Coco Gauff, Jannik Sinner, or Iga Świątek. But the truly wild part of this concept is what 1 point actually means. Tennis is a sport where the better player almost always wins over the course of a full match. Skill, fitness, mental strength, and strategy usually win out over time. But when everything comes down to 1 point, all of that disappears. It becomes pure chaos. It's basically a coin flip, with slightly better odds for the professional. In this format, someone like Roger Federer could theoretically lose to a weekend tennis player who happens to hit one lucky shot. Now let's look at the star power involved. Carlos Alcaraz, the world #1, committed early. Nick Kyrgios is in, the Australian showman who's been injured for ages and who people aren't even sure can still compete at the highest level. There's also Alexander Zverev, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Lorenzo Musetti, Alex de Minaur, and now Jannik Sinner and Coco Gauff. This is basically a list of current tennis royalty. These aren't retired players showing up for an appearance fee. These are athletes who are actively dominating the sport right now. Jannik Sinner just completed one of the best seasons in recent tennis history. He won 6 tour titles, including 2 Grand Slams. He took the Australian Open and Wimbledon. He's 23 years old, and he's playing at an incredibly high level. And now he's choosing to take part in an exhibition during the Australian Open, where one bad bounce could see him lose to an amateur. Depending on how you look at it, that's either total confidence or a questionable decision. Iga Świątek just won her 6th Grand Slam at Wimbledon this year. She's 23 years old, has dominated women's tennis for years, won the WTA 1000 in Cincinnati, and sits at world #2. And she's entering an event where anything can happen, because everything comes down to 1 point. The mindset required to reach her level doesn't really line up with accepting that level of randomness. But here we are. Then there's Coco Gauff. She won her second Grand Slam at the French Open this year, claimed the WTA 1000 title in Wuhan, and finished the season ranked number 3. She's 21 years old, already has multiple Grand Slam titles, and has a massive global profile. She just signed up for an event where she could potentially lose to an amateur on 1 point, have it go viral, and have people talk about it forever. That takes confidence, or it shows she understands that the exposure outweighs the risk. The tennis establishment is probably not thrilled about this. These players spend their entire careers perfecting their skills, building consistency, developing strategies, and strengthening their mental game. And now they're playing in an event that removes all of that. With 1 point, strategy doesn't matter. You can't adjust. You can't recover from mistakes. You get one chance. That's not traditional tennis. That's pure chance.
But from an entertainment and marketing perspective, this is incredibly smart. The appeal is the unpredictability. People will tune in because literally anything can happen. The amateurs aren't expected to win the tournament, but could one of them beat a top player in a single 1-point match? Absolutely. And that possibility is what makes this event so watchable. Australian Open tournament director Craig Tiley gave a very polished quote, saying the event is about bringing people together through tennis in an exciting and inclusive way. Translated, it means they found a way to create content that appeals to casual fans while paying top players large appearance fees to participate. And let's be honest, the players aren't doing this purely for the prize money. They're being paid to show up. The $1 million prize just adds excitement and legitimacy. The format adds pressure, too. With 48 competitors, there are multiple rounds. You can't just win 1 point and take the money. You have to keep winning 1-point matches over and over, which raises the stakes each time. For the professionals, the embarrassment risk grows with every round. Losing early is bad luck. Losing after beating several amateurs starts to look like nerves. There's also a Kia EV3 being awarded to the last remaining amateur in the draw, giving non-professionals a realistic goal beyond the $1 million. That's smart planning. But honestly, if an amateur beats Jannik Sinner in a 1-point match, the car doesn't matter. That story alone lasts a lifetime. The timing of this event is where things get uncomfortable. January 14th falls right in the middle of the Australian Open. These players will already be deep into Grand Slam competition, where preparation, recovery, and focus are critical. Adding an exhibition into that schedule brings risk. Grand Slam routines are carefully protected. Players avoid unnecessary activity and certainly avoid injury risk unless the reward is big enough. Given the names involved, it's safe to say the appearance fees are substantial. Most top players earn more from endorsements and exhibitions than prize money anyway. From a financial perspective, this makes sense. Show up, play a few points, get paid, gain exposure, and move on. The social media content alone will be massive. Reactions to losing on 1 point, interactions with amateurs, trash talk, it's designed to go viral. That's the real goal. Reach people who don't normally watch tennis. Traditional fans won't love this. To them, it turns tennis into entertainment rather than sport, and placing it during a Grand Slam sends a message that tennis needs gimmicks to stay relevant. Other sports separate their exhibitions from major competitions. Basketball doesn't run celebrity games during the NBA Finals. Football keeps skills competitions away from meaningful games. Tennis is doing the opposite. From Coco Gauff's point of view, this is a smart move. She's already proven herself. Now she's building her brand. Participating in high-profile events like this expands her audience. Even if she loses, she comes across as relaxed and confident. That's good publicity. Jannik Sinner is in a similar position. After a historic season, he can afford to show personality. It makes him more relatable. Iga Świątek's involvement is more surprising. She's usually very focused and reserved. Whether this helps or hurts probably depends on how it plays out. The amateur players are the real winners. Travel, accommodation, and a chance to compete against the best in the world. Even a single-point win becomes a lifelong story. In the end, one of the professionals will almost certainly win the $1 million. But the chaos, the unpredictability, and the attention are the real prizes. The one-point slam could easily become a regular event. It's simple, dramatic, and easy to understand. Compared to traditional exhibitions, this format creates instant tension. Coco Gauff has signed up for the most unpredictable tennis event ever created. 1 point, $1 million. It's either brilliant marketing or complete madness. And honestly, it's probably both.